Welcome to Jollof and Fiction, home of African literature and stories, the kind that warm your heart like a fresh pot of jollof. Today, you're tuning into a recorded session of our online book discussion, so sit back, relax, and join the conversation.
Yes, so without wasting much more time, let's go to the first question we have for today. Now, when I read this article, one thing I realized was how similar Ghanaians are to Nigerians. Like, we're extremely similar. It was almost, I could very easily have believed if someone said this was a Nigerian story, because it was so Nigerian. My first question for everyone: what comes to mind when you hear the term mental health? What comes to mind? What is the first thing that comes to your mind? It mustn't be like what we know as mental health. Like, I'm not even asking for an accurate description. Okay, Olivia, yes, please talk.
Good evening, everyone. So, when I hear the term mental health, I think the first thing that comes to mind is just more like a certain feeling of sadness that cannot really be expressed, because that's just come like, okay, this person is probably sad, going through something, but cannot really talk about it. So, that's just what I think about when I hear mental health. Yeah. A lot of stress in your mind that cannot really be spoken of.
All right, thank you. Truly, it really isn't really spoken of. Divine, what comes to mind when you hear the term mental health?
Okay, good evening, everybody. Personally, what comes to mind when I hear mental health is depression. I don't know, somehow in my head, mental health and depression are goes hand in hand. So that comes to mind when I hear mental health is depression.
True, sure. Because as much as we want to say that we are actually advanced, when we hear mental health, our minds are always going to, okay, what are the bad things? Yeah, I get where you're coming from. All right, the next question for today is a bit long, so but let me read it out. I will also paste it in the chat box. If a young Nigerian acknowledges they need help, does the society provide affordable, accessible, and professional infrastructure to support them? To what extent does the economic state of Nigeria contribute to the silence Aduah describes, where people simply cannot afford to be unwell? Okay, let me hear from Brown, then Olivia.
Mental issues, mental health issues myself. I tried getting help. On YouTube, you see ads like Better Help, but Better Help costs like 100K to 150K a week. So getting good mental health treatment is just unaffordable. Like on a normal scale, then put that down to a Nigerian environment, a Nigerian economy, it's just non-existent. So if you're looking for any meaningful help as an average Nigerian, your choices are the church or ChatGPT. It's terrible.
True. Thank you so much. When I see things like services that are available to Americans, usually the US, but basically foreigners, and the prices are in dollars, and it may be $1, $2, $5, $10, 16. To them, it won't be so much, but the moment you convert it to naira, you realize that this is a whole lot for the average Nigerian to pay. And you see them talking about, like, oh, I'm seeing two therapists, or I have a therapist, or oh, I like almost everyone has a therapist. But over here, if you've ever tried to price therapists in Nigeria, you would understand where I'm coming from. It's really not as easy as people make it seem. Olivia, let's hear from you, then Anita.
All right. Well, for the issue of mental health, I think when someone complains and says they don't feel good mentally, like, first of all, people, like the article said, they feel you're weak, right? And then they think you're lazy. I don't know, but they don't just give the right attitude towards it. And sometimes people fail to understand that being low on having low mental energy can just be as a result of too much stress, maybe a lot of expectations. So many things can cause it. So they don't even pay so much attention. They think like if you're not, there was a point where the writer said that in Ghana, when you say something like that, your parents will be like, mental health, don't you have shelter? Don't you have food? Don't Are you not alive? But it goes beyond these things. Sometimes it's just sadness that cannot even be explained at some point, right? And then I don't even think the government helps because even the so-called therapists don't even do their jobs well. I read a post one time of a guy who was kidnapped. He said that when he came back, he had to pay for therapy, and his therapist tried to sleep with him, so that he was really disgusted by it, and he had to like change a therapist. So you can even imagine where your so-called therapist is not even being professional. It's also a means of trying to see, because therapy in Nigeria is for rich people. Then imagine someone now pays for your session, and what you're thinking of is how to actually get the person into bed and to collect more money. Are you even all right? So government or whoever should do a lot more. Like a lot more awareness should be created about it. Honestly.
Thank you so much, Olivia. I'm just imagining how annoyed that guy would be because, like, aside the money he paid the therapist, even the time and money he would have spent to get himself there, only for her to now. Please, Anita, we'll hear from you then quickly, Divine and Tony, before we move on to the next question.
Okay, hi Jennifer, hi everyone. Okay, so you asked if a young Nigerian acknowledges that they need help. Does society provide affordable blah 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 infrastructure? Essentially, I think no. Nigeria does not provide the infrastructure needed. Like finding a therapist, I don't know about other states, but in Akwa Ibom, I feel like finding a therapist is difficult. So the time I was trying to like find like the therapy options available here, and I had to ask someone who was studying like in medical school, and there were a lot of hoops to pass through to even find one that was practicing and available over here in Akwa Ibom, and it was so stressful. And I was just thinking, can I even afford this service, even if I find it? I think the economic state of Nigeria contributes to the silence, but I don't think it does as much harm as the whole stigma that surrounds mental health. I feel like it's more like people hear mental health, the first thing they'll think is madness. If you're a bit different, maybe you think that oh, this person has like some serious condition that is it's not a good thing to have, quote unquote, and they don't feel like it's fixable. They're most likely think that oh, it's something that's spiritual. Can't you pray? Can't you go away? So the economy doesn't help. But I feel like even if the economy was better, even if these infrastructures were present, how many people would actually use them in favor of saying, "Oh, this is a spiritual problem. If we pray, it's going to go away." If you acknowledge it, that's when it becomes serious. If you don't acknowledge it, it doesn't exist. That's basically like my thoughts. So
That's actually a very good point because even if the infrastructure was in place, our mindset would it change because we still have that resistance to the practice of going and looking for therapy in the first place. So even if the government decides to put in this infrastructure, how would we react to it? Would our reactions to this change, or would it just be the same and to end up being wasted funds? Okay, Divine, let's hear from you.
Okay. I think the question is in two parts. So for the first part, Nigeria has a long way to go. Psychiatric hospitals in Nigeria, I don't know how many they are, but I know that last time I checked, it was just one psychiatric hospital in the south, and it's in River State, and I think it serves Akwa Ibom, Calabar, and some other south states. And when I went there, I was told that they only have 2 consultation days in a week, and people come in from all these states, right? And don't have so many doctors. Like all the times I went, and it's such a sad thing to know that a country such as Nigeria, with our population, have does not have proper infrastructure and professionals for this. And I don't know who said that even if we provide this structure, because Nigerians believe in more in religion, there would be maybe there'll be no appreciation for the structure. But I think that yes, if there's that structure, the next thing that should be available is sensitization. Like we see what even the writer acknowledged it, that in the West there is sensitization. These things are in the media. You watch movies, you always see somebody's in therapy. You read books, you always see that somebody has gone for therapy, somebody has seen a grief counselor. These things are available. They put it out there so that you don't just it's just not that there's a structure, there's also the knowledge that you should approach these people. These things are for your use. So I think that if there's a structure, then there should be sensitization on how people should approach and appreciate that structure. And about the economy, I think that an average Nigerian will think you never chop, you won't go to therapy. So it's quite funny, but I think the economy also affects it because you first think of what to eat and how to get money to eat before you start thinking of paying for therapy or traveling. Imagine how many hospitals, psychiatric hospitals we have traveling from your state to another state for psychiatric issues. So it's quite sad. Thank you.
I do. It truly is quite sad. Imagine someone who is hungry and then you're thinking about therapy. Like, at least deal with the first problem, okay? Or you're hungry, you're thinking about rent, you're thinking about light money or water money. Then you start thinking about therapy again. All right, Tony, let's hear from you. Then move on to the next question.
Hi, Jennifer. I think my opinion comes from the way that we see our mental health. If somebody should, come out to say, or let's say I'm feeling a type of way, and the first idea is always, people around you is always like seeing this thing as, this guy or this person has a very, very bad, sickness or something that you're not feeling too well. They will always see you in a very, very bad light. So it makes people to not want to, even admit, even when they know that passing through things, they just want to just be left alone. They don't want to even that vulnerability of coming out to say that this is how they feel about what they're passing through. I think that's like number one. And then the second part is, you talked about Nigerian government. I think it's quite similar to what the author was talking about. I think we have very, very good similarities with Ghana. There's a lot of problems. So Nigerians are on their own. We're just on our own. When you faced with and, get treated or just find your way to, take care of your problems. That's just what I want to say. I think that should be it.
Thank you so much, Tony. All right, let's move on to the next question. How can the Nigerian youth bridge the communication gap with their parents regarding mental health without it being perceived as disrespect or weakness? What happens to a society when the youth are speaking a language of emotional intelligence that the elders refuse to learn? Okay, Chiamaka, let's hear from you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So, my own opinion, right? When you say without disrespect, I mean, it has to do with shouting at them or something, but I feel like the average Nigerian youth, if they want to breach that gap, they have to start with disobeying their parents. When you do not disobey your parents, you get like confined in their world for you, and at the end of the day, it is your life that is going down and not their own. So if you want to bridge that gap, we have to like stand up to them and be a rebel. You have to stand up to them and be like, oh, this is not what I want. I remember when I started baking newly, right? My dad was against it so bad. He was like, he legit said, stay in the house, make sure you read your books, you're going to get into a good school. And mind you, I was taking a gap year then. I was not in school then. My dad was always like shouting at me, go and marry your book, kiniko. I just wrote jam. Result have not even come out safe. And my first jam, I don't even know what happened, but it ended in a gap year. So I wanted to use that gap year and be productive. My dad is like, go to jam, go and be reading for your books. Okay, pay for my jam lesson. No, read your books on your own. And I'm like, you know what? I'm actually going to do this cake. So I started baking. The first cake, he said that if he sees any cake in this house again, he's going. And I was like, you know what? Let me bake that cake and see if he's going to destroy it. I went to him and said, Daddy, I got my first order for a cake and I'm going to do that cake and I'm going to deliver it to my clients. But I baked the cake and delivered it. So he was just watching me because he did not know where I got the audacity from. So if you want to be a bridge in gap between communications with our generation and their generation, we really, really need to rebel. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm seriously considering this, and I don't know if I have the what would I say now? I'm not sure if I'm ready. So, but I would consider it as an option. Be a rebel. Is it in your bong? I think that's how it's pronounced. Yeah, let's hear from you.
Good evening, everyone. So, these are my thoughts. I don't think you can bridge the communication gap with your parents regarding mental health, but you can meet them at the point of their own understanding. Let me give you an instance. 2 years ago, I was depressed. A lot of things happened in my life, and when I get home, I would spontaneously cry. And my mom noticed that something was off with me, and I didn't want to talk about it until it got to a point where I just couldn't take it anymore, and I just spilled everything. I told her what was happening with me at that time, and she kind of just sat there and listened to me talk. Then she now comforted me by hugging me, telling me that everything was going to be fine. And then she now prayed. So that is what I mean by them, your parents meeting you meeting your parents at the point of their understanding. They only know how to cope with mental health by praying, attending church, yada yada. So you just try to meet them at the point of their understanding, even if it doesn't provide like a full, how should I say it? Even if it doesn't provide a full, like, is it comfort? But I don't know what to say. I can't get the words right, but they can't bridge the gap. But your parents do understand when you're sad. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you, Inyobong. We actually understood where you were coming from. We can't necessarily bridge the gap completely, but we can always meet them where they are. Okay. So Anita, let's hear from you. Then I'll drop the next question.
I have quite a pessimistic view that the communication gap isn't something that can be bridged, right? He said something about meeting them halfway and telling her mom about her issues, and her mom paid for her. And for all intents and purposes, that is very sweet, right? You can feel that your parents cares about you, that they are doing this thing, like trying to make you feel better. But this thing they are doing, is it actually what you need? We come from a society where like the first answer to a lot of problems is prayer, bad governance, mental health, sickness, blah 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 blah. prayer, especially if they can't actually afford these things. So let's say you actually come with I don't want to say serious mental health issues because I can't necessarily judge. But let's say you come with the mental health issues that actually needs like active treatments, like you need to be treated. If they pray for you, what exactly is that going to do? Like how does that help you? I don't think this communication gap can be bridged unless the parents actively want to do something. And I don't think there is a way to like make them actively change because in their minds they have this idea that this system has worked for them. Why do you want it to change? What Dr. Promise said in the comments or in chat box was a bit funny. We just wait for them to die off. But in a sense, it is true. I feel like it's necessary for us younger generations to try and build good systems for ourselves. And we can hope that our parents want to key into this idea. We can hope that they want to listen to us, that they want to like take the next step forward. But we cannot expect them to. All we can hope for is that we build something that works for us and can be used for like future generations coming afterwards. But hoping that this old generation who is so set in their ways changes is a bit too optimistic for me, I guess. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Sorry, is anyone speaking? Because I'm not certain. I can't hear a thing.
I wasn't hearing anything either, so I'm not sure anybody's talking.
Hi, Jennifer. I think our network is bad. Let's just wait a little bit and see if she's going to come back. Okay, so while we wait for Jennifer, let me just also give my own opinion on the matter. Well, I think that sometimes it's just I'm really sorry about this dog you're hearing, Sha. So I think it's just about it depends on where you grew up and also who your parents are in some cases. There are parents who might not really understand the ideology of mental health. They might not really be able to relate what to the exact meaning, but they can at least understand when you tell them you feel down, you feel sad, you feel anxious, or because somehow I know my parents were like that. The only thing is that I just couldn't bring myself to tell them. So when there was this time when I felt very low, and I remember one time finally speaking up. So one day I woke up, and it's not, we cannot actually fault our parents for just knowing, how to approach everything based on faith. I think it's just also how they grew up. And then I remember one early morning waking up and coming out of my room, and I could hear my dad and my mom praying. They were praying for me that I'll feel better, and and all that. And it really touched my heart. So sometimes I think parents just can give the much they have. And I think this generation, because we understand better, you can see that parents can now relate more to how their kids feel. Some of them, the older generation, they can actually, they don't really understand the terminologies we use, but they can also at the same time not exactly shun you when you say you feel a certain way. So I just think it depends on where you come from. And sometimes we just have to be the ones to bring it down to the level our parents are going to understand. You can't come and tell your parents, I feel depressed. They might not really understand it, but you can break down what you mean by you feel depressed. Oh, I feel this way. I feel anxious that I'm not going to get this job. I feel anxious about what is going to happen to my results. And maybe from there, like you can pick up the conversation. So that's just what I think though.
While we wait for Jennifer, I guess I want to ask a question. Um, who else has experienced this sort of comments? Let's say, if something's wrong with you, you should just go to mental health. You should go and get yourself therapy or something. That dismissive. I'll say dismissive and hand waving or magic wand answer to mental health, in the sense of, like you have malaria, go to the hospital or go to the clinic. Sentiment a lot this past few months. And I find the question you guys were answering maybe 20 minutes ago about the fraud. So what I'm saying is, or what I'm trying to ask is, who else has had that experience? And also the fact that it seems the whole idea of mental health has really seeps into like popular discourse, right? But people fundamentally believe that there's nothing wrong with these systems. I think because that's the only reason why you can say, well, there's something wrong with you, just go and get yourself into a mental health hospital, go and get therapy. So if anybody has anything to say about it.
Okay, well, if I understand what you said, Malik, for me, I don't think I've had that. That I've not really experienced it because I've not really been somebody to really talk about the things that bother me with people around, whether friends or family. But I think I have seen it happen to other people. And the way they are so dismissive of your feelings, it makes me understand why you actually don't want to speak up. And then, but I will also say that there are times when I've had to test waters, like, because I don't usually speak of like things that bother me so much. If the times I took initiative to actually talk about it, maybe not deeply, just on the surface level, I do it to watch your reaction. And when your reaction is a dismissive one, maybe sometimes you find that this person doesn't even know what to say. It's even so funny. It's even funnier when they don't even know what to say. At least it's not even a question of, oh, we go and get drugs now or something. They don't even know what to say. They are point blank just looking at you. So I've not really experienced it personally, but I've seen it happen to other people. And it's the more reason why I think people don't even own up to the things happening around them. And I also wanted to mention that the first time I saw someone experience a panic attack was my friend. So we went to buy suya, and then we passed through this place where there was a very huge crowd, and then suddenly she started crying. Like the way she just burst into tears, I was so surprised. She was singing just like a few minutes ago, and then the next minute she was crying, like seriously crying. So we had to enter a bike and go home because the idea was just to take a walk. When we got home, I was not asking her. She said she just, as she, passed through that place, she remembered the time she was mobbed by 5 guys, and, she just suddenly felt that panic again. So I just had to stay with her and comforted her and everything. But to another person, what she said might not even make sense. The person might not even really be able to make sense of the situation. But yeah, that's like actually this is just a side story. It doesn't really relate to your question though, but I just wanted to like mention it.
No, thank you for mentioning the story. And I wanted to clarify something else. The question I mean is, it's not really like if you yourself tell someone you're having a mental health issue. It's more like if someone has an issue with you, it becomes a talking point. Like if something's wrong with your head, you go and check yourself into a mental health issue. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I see some hands up. So I'll check whose hand came up first. And how did you check? I don't know. Whoever's hand is up should start talking first. Sorry.
I'll give you private lessons later. Just ask me. I just got your question now that you mean as an insult when people say you must be crazy, go to the hospital, something. So that's not how I got it before. And yeah, I think that we're playing catch up with mental health and don't really understand mental health in its entirety, even as young people trying to have the conversations on it. So some people will see mental health as something that should be used as bans, or when someone acts irrationally once, though you need to get yourself checked. We've not really gotten the full scope of what we mean by mental health issues. Just now, Izzy was saying something about someone having a panic attack in public. I don't even know if you're sure that's a panic attack. I'm not sure people know what bipolar is when they see it. I'm not sure people know what ADHD is. So I feel like we're playing catch up, and it shows even in our infrastructure, even in our government, even with our parents, the relationship with our parents. They had their own way of dealing with things. We have now been exposed to social media, so we now know what goes on in the world. we now have an idea of all of these issues. We now have an idea that, okay, if I'm feeling this, then it's this. It could be this. We're not even sure because we don't even have access to people, to professionals so much that can even walk us through it. So everything is playing catch up. And so it's understandable that someone will use it as bans because they don't understand the severity of what they're saying. So we still have a long way to go when it comes to mental health conversations. We still have a long way to go for even as individuals to educate ourselves before we even talk about bridging the gap with our parents, which I don't think is something that would happen. Before, we don't even have like the right, how many mental health institutions? My roommate in school, she's a nurse, she did mental health nursing in for her master's, and she was studying mental health nursing. So she had like her course she was doing. Sorry, I'm taking too long, I'll wrap up now. And she could only get like real data from Yaba Left.
All right. About data and infrastructure, I heard recently about someone's experience trying to get data from NAVDAC, and they said this person should go to their office in Abuja from Ilorin, right? Which is funny. So the infrastructure might not even be the lack of data; it's just the incompetencies of bureaucracy. So, Brown, Ini, please go ahead.
All right. So to answer the question, it's important to get a full context. The world itself. Sorry, before I start rambling off, is everybody? Are you hearing me, please?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right. So the world itself is behind on the subject of mental health. You now take that to a third world country, aka Nigeria. It's substantially worse. It's layers worse. And with our culture of savagery and cruise, quote unquote, it's piled up. So when people have such issues, it's easy to dismiss. The infrastructure is non-existent. I don't know, people keep pointing out case studies with Yaba Left. That's not anything. It's non-existent. It doesn't exist in this country. It's really sad. To tell you how bad it is, I was actually genuinely surprised when at the beginning of this discussion, there were like 2 or 3 other people who also mentioned that they tried looking out for therapy. I was actually genuinely surprised. Like, oh wow, people actually do that. I was actually surprised. I thought I was like one of the few people looking out for therapy. So it's that bad. It's that bad. So it's that bad. Thank you.
All right. I would also add that it is a very quick phenomenon or quick experience once you acknowledge mental health in Nigeria and you're like, oh, okay, maybe my friend is feeling this way, or my sister is feeling this way, or my sibling in general, and you say, okay, what can we do? You quickly come up with the barriers or the challenges that come with dealing with this. Where can I find help? Oh no, it's too expensive. It's not affordable. It's so far, and I can only do it over video call. So many problems. All right, Tony, if you are still here, Tony, can you hear me?
Oh yes, Malik, I can
All
hear
right,
you.
please speak. You have
Okay.
something to say.
All right. I just wanted to. I think Dr. Promise made some clarifications on awareness. I just wanted to speak a little bit on that as well. So, like, I feel like we have this very, very poor, awareness of. We're talking about this mental sickness or mental illness or however you wish to put it. So, I feel like that's what is the cause of, like, that's for me the primary cause. Because when people don't know much about, what people are passing through, it will be difficult for them to know how to address them, right? So that's number one. And then, secondly, I feel like we talked about, a parent, when you are feeling a type of way, and then you want to like let your parents or inform them about, how you're feeling. I remember I had I don't know if I should call it a scare now, like sometime in the past, like few years ago. And I tried to relate to my parents how I was feeling. Firstly, I was misunderstood, right? And then secondly, when I decided to seek help by myself, I didn't get help as much as I wanted. In fact, I went to the extent that I got some contacts online, that I needed an advice or even psychologists. I went to that extent, but yet at the end of the day, I couldn't get anything tangible out of it. So, but I feel like everything boils down to, our culture. Very many people, like, I feel like most especially our parents, they didn't have like a fundamental way of tackling issues, or I think in fact the idea of mental sickness or whatever, or how was even, I'm trying to remember the word or how it was referred to in the subject text now. Can someone like just, I need the exact word. It's skipping my mind. I don't use the word mental illness.
Are you looking for mental health? Is that the word
Yes,
you're looking
mental health.
for? Mental
Yes,
health. All right.
that's thank you. So I feel like many people don't, like, our parents. They don't have a basic idea of how this thing works. They never believed in it, and so they grew up with that culture, and then it's entirely strange to them. So when we are passing through, difficulties like that, and you're trying to let them know, so it's entirely strange to them because they never had, you know, things like that. And even though they understand and they care about their children, so it is not entirely easy for them to, except for the ones that are actually very, very, the ones that went to school, understand what it is all about, and probably have the resources to take care of their children. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So
I think I do. Or
exactly,
someone who has had a family member with severe mental health issues,
exactly,
like maybe
exactly,
PTSD or something.
exactly.
All
So
right.
thank
I'm
you.
trying to see. Okay, there was a question I was sent about. If we can answer it, it would be great. So the question goes thus: How
Hi,
can we
Malik.
dismantle?
Sorry,
Hi, hi, hi. Who is
sorry.
that? Hello.
Okay, it's Olivia. Treasure,
All
your
right.
hand was up previously. So, do you still have something to say before he continues, or do you still have something to say, Treasure?
Good evening, everyone, and officially Happy New Year from me. I wanted to
Hi.
address what someone said about infrastructures being not available, and she said it's only Yaba that the person was able to get. I don't quite agree with that. We have a number of mental health institutions. I can count like 5 here in the southwest. They may not be well equipped, or they may not have like the best of the best compared to um, maybe abroad, but we still have them available. So that's what I wanted to say here.
Okay, I understand your point, which is why I also raised the issue of like NAFDAC being unwilling to give someone data. So I was trying to underscore the fact that unavailability might not be due to the lack of. I mean, yes, there are mental health institutions available in the Southwest. What I was trying to say is the fact that the person could not get information might be due to other bureaucratic reasons, if you understand what I mean now. I was also trying to answer or respond to Promise, I believe, when she mentioned it. I'll read out the question now. Thank you for your 2 cents. How can we dismantle the cultural narrative that mental illness is a white man's disease? Or if you agree that we still think that, or a curse, especially when these myths prevent families from seeking help. How does fear of what people will say contribute to the high rates of undiagnosed depression and anxiety in Nigerian communities? This is part of what Jennifer had prepared before she was unable to continue. I'll paste the question in the chat box too. All right, so I've pasted it and I'm going to look for hands if hands are up. There are no hands up right now. So, as what I think about this question, particularly the part where it says fear of what people will say, I think it's particularly relevant in the nature of the conversation we've been having, even regarding like children and parents. And while we've agreed that it is going to be very hard or impossible to change the minds of the older generation, we still have to understand that they are in direct control of the lives of millions of children. So it is not a matter of you cannot do it. It's a matter of how can we do it despite the overwhelming odds. I now see hands up, so I'm going to look. And so, Tony, please go ahead.
Okay, I think first of all, we need to see it as a very, very big problem. That's the only time we can be able to address it like head on. If we don't see it as a problem or something that needs attention, then fixing it will be a very big problem. So we need to, I think the government has a very huge role to play in uh, this agenda, because it's already something that is in the entire place. So I think there should be a campaign, these NGOs, everybody coming together there should be a campaign for mental health awareness. The government should be able to, draft policies and even make, what is it called, grants for mental health, create awareness and, all that. So for me, that's the point I just wanted to reach. That's the contribution I
All
wanted
right.
to give.
Thank you very much. I agree that we need to see it as a very big problem, but expecting big government to come and do it for us is not going to help us in this country, as we can see with many of our other problems. But yes, we should all be proactive. So look for the next person whose hands has been raised. I think Anita. Anita, please go on.
Okay, so I think a big step in the right direction, or rather, a little step in the right direction, should be people talking about their issues more. I mean, stigma exists because silence exists, and people are going to have issues seeing things as normal if these things aren't spoken about. Like, okay, I want to make a comparison, but I'm just going to leave that. But I think if we speak up more, if someone comes forward and says, "Oh, I'm suffering from this thing," and then someone else realizes that, "Oh, wait, I'm not alone here," it actually normalizes things a lot more. Because silence breeds shame, and if you're ashamed that, "Oh, I'm suffering this, no one else seems to be suffering it," you're not going to seek help. You're not going to go forth and seek help. Like, if a lot of people are having these conversations and we are breaking the shame, then people are actually going to start hopefully demanding the help that they deserve. So I feel waiting for the government may not on their own spontaneously stand up and do something, but if a group of people are like, "Oh wait, we need this thing, we deserve this thing," I don't know, perhaps they can work together and make some sort of change in this country. And sensitization will also help from NGOs and stuff like that. I think in the article they mentioned something about you watching American movies, and in almost every movie you're seeing a teenager is in therapy or something like that. Normalizing these things in our popular media or whatever is going to also help with societal acceptance of them, because if we don't break the stigma here, we can never accept that, "Oh, this affects everyone." So yeah.
Thank you. And yes, we do need to have more conversations about it and create more avenues for productive discussions about mental health and vulnerable ones too. So, Chizaram, please go ahead.
Excuse me. Okay, what I think is that, first of all, forget the government. We need to start from ourselves. They say charity begins at home. And there's this time I remember when I was in second year a guy in my school committed suicide. It was a very popular story. I mean, he went, I think almost that story went around the whole universities in Nigeria. People heard about it. Even today, people still go to his Facebook account to read his last his suicide notes or whatever he dropped there. Yeah. But guess what? It was still people like him that would today complain about mental health and how they are not understood and all that we're crucifying him. I'm not absolutely saying that suicide is a good thing, but I'm just saying that it goes to show that even your neighbor who is close to you doesn't even understand what you're saying because it's not them. So it's not even far. Your friend, when your friend complains and says, I feel this way, what is your response? How do you respond to the person? What do you even think generally about subjects like this? Do you even try to be a source of consolation or something like that? Or are you just blabbing and saying, like people really trashed the guy that time. I even remember having a conversation with one of my roommates, and I was like, I truly understand this guy because one of his problems was that he said, he didn't really get love from family, right? That was one of the things he talked about, but not really deeply. So, and people don't understand how this can be a very big issue. Imagine living with your parents, you have other siblings, and somehow you feel neglected. Sorry, it might be your mind, though. It might be your mind, but at the same time, it doesn't stop the fact that you feel that way. Now it depends. It now relies on your parent to actually make you feel safe or feel better. But then you didn't get that feeling, and also friends. He probably felt awkward. Because he was a socially awkward person from the things I got to know about him, from news that people spoke about him. He was already dead. So the point is just that even people around him could not relate. Everybody was just trashing him, saying he was wicked and all that. It's actually somehow I think it's a wicked thing to kill yourself because you're leaving the pain for your family. But at the same time, I think we should also come to a point where we try to relate with these people. It's not a government thing. It's also a person who is in the government, right? So if we start and keep going up, people one day, I don't know, I don't know if you get my point here, but it's a person who is in the government. And if as a community, as a group of people, family, friends, we can understand each other and individuals, then that same love will be able to spread and eventually the government will take it seriously or be able to do about it. But it starts within. That's my point. That's what I think.
All right. Thank you so much, Alfred. Please, you are going to be the last person to talk on this issue. I believe the call is about to end. Alfred, are you here?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Hi.
I don't know if you can hear me clearly.
I can hear you clearly.
Yes. My own little piece is actually based on the family, because the family is actually one of the biggest institution, if not the biggest we have. So the only thing I have to say is that if you want to tackle anything, no matter what, it has to start from the family, because how you are treated in your family reveals a lot of things in your life. When you grow up in a family that you cannot actually express yourself, I don't think that there is any other place you actually express yourself better than at home. So I think families, especially the elderly ones, the fathers, the mothers, and the elder siblings, have a great role to play in situations like this, because in Nigeria, majority of children in Nigeria, if I'm to place it on a percentage, like 80% of children don't really speak to their parents because of fear or how they have been raised. So many things. My thoughts are not actually together. So I don't really know how to express what I want to say now, Chap.
I quite understand. Don't worry. But go on, finish.
I don't have boys down
All
individuals.
right.
We have to play a higher role when we actually have our own families. Since our parents didn't do this for us, so we have to do it for our kids.
All right. Thank you very much. And I agree with you. The family is very important in dismantling the shame and the stigmatization around mental health struggles. And how I wish we had time to talk about suicide and how our society treats it. But unfortunately, we are at the end of our session, and any further conversation can happen on the group chat. Thank you all so very much. And I appreciate you all for being here. And I'm sure Jennifer is also she's feeling somehow, or she could not finish her hosting. So bye guys. Thank you. Bye.
Don't forget to hit the follow button and tap on the notification icon to stay updated. That's all for today's episode. To join our book club or stay updated on future discussions, follow us on Instagram and X at Jollof Book Club, Jollof with a double F. And thank you so much for listening.